Can you have mic?
Tell me the process of playing the character, the entire process. It's a very tough role, I can see. Tell me about it.
I've heard the question, but do you want to repeat it on a mic for the cameras? Yeah.
Tell me the process. It looks like a very
Ma'am, I think they would want you to repeat the question on a mic for the camera. Yeah, she's just bringing it to you.
Tell me the process of playing the character. It's a very tough role, I can see that. And tough terrain, you all have shot the film. Tell me about it.
So the process of playing the character is actually deeply intertwined with the process of actually adapting it into a feature film narrative. Because the book that Benjamin has written is based on a real life that Mr. Najib has lived, and the film that Blessy has made is based on the book that Benjamin has written. So much like the book is an encapsulated version of the experience that the man has lived through, the film can only always be an encapsulated version of the literature on paper. Because the thing with literature on print is that you have the liberty of micro detailing. So you can detail every single moment in the character arc when you're writing it down. If we were to make a film that would then capture every detail that is written, this would at the very least be a 10-hour long film. So I think at the very beginning, Blessy told me what I'm trying to do is not recreate the book, but what I'm trying to do is try and make the audience feel what I imagine Najib must have felt. And that was a cornerstone of designing the performance arc as well. I realized at the beginning that the character is so complex and the arc has got so many crests and troughs that it is going to be impossible for me to look at it as one giant character arc. I'll have to break it down in my mind. So Blessy and me decided that we are going to break down the narrative into three parts. Of course, there is one part that is not included in these three, which is who he was before he lands up in the desert, what he was back in Kerala, what he used to do, his family, what did he leave behind before he gets trapped in the desert. So that is one part of his life that will come to you in little pieces, segments of flashbacks in the first half of the film. But that aside, I think Blessy had this wonderful idea that we have to break down the narrative into three phases. So the three phases, phase one is when he lands up in the desert and he realizes that he's stuck. That first phase of actually trying to fight the circumstances and trying to find a way out, and the phase of denial where he's thinking, no, this can't be, I have to get out of this place. And the performance is metered to that emotional graph where he's just not ready to believe that this is happening. So the performance is metered like that. Then the narrative breaks at one point, and then you see him a few months later. Where he's slightly thinner, his hair is grown, his beard is grown, and he's angry. He's angry because that's a phase where he's questioning everything about his predicament. The biggest question in his mind is, why me? And he's angry at himself, he's angry at the circumstances, he's angry at God. And so the performance is metered to that in that one phase. And then the narrative breaks at another point, and then you meet this man 3 years later, where he's completely different. He's no longer the man who you saw. He is more animal than man, because for the last 3 years, the only conversations he's had, are with the animals. So then you meet this broken man who's now come to terms with the fact that this is something he will have to live through. And he will have to go to the other end of this experience. And the other end of it might be death, might be escape, might be salvation. But he's almost come to terms with a spiritual realization that this is something that he's meant to live through. So then the performance is metered to that. So that's the way I broke down the character arc in my mind. And this was a discussion that Blessy and Neil had over many days, many months actually. And I should thank him for letting the actor's interpretation take so much space into the style of filming, because he did actually then design the way he filmed the entire film on this classification that I just told you about.
Can I have the mic, please?
I was talking about.
Sorry?
Physical physical transformation.
Oh, the physical transformation involved not eating.
Yeah. Not eating.
Yeah.
How many days in a row?
Yeah, so actually, I mean it quite literally. Uh, I guess that this is a good month to be talking about it because my transformation was largely based on fasting. I and there was a consensus between my trainer, my nutritionist, the doctors on set. We had doctors on sets that there is no healthy way to do it. That there is no healthy way that somebody can lose 31 kilos. So you just try and be as safe as you can. So it was largely based on fasting, and it used to be sometimes up to 72 hours at a stretch.
Abhinandan, can I have my congratulations to the team. This is on the left, on your left. Haji, this is Simran Singh here. First of all, congratulations and kudos to you guys because 16 years putting into this project and with such dedication, we see the result and we are going to wait for the main film to be released. मेरा सवाल पहले आपसे पृथ्वीराज. See, today we are living in the day and age where cinemas are breaking boundary and the Goat Life will have a grand worldwide release. How do you look upon to this fact?
So I just think that this is part of a natural evolution of cinema as an industry, as a business, that we were always headed here. And as exhibition sector and means of bringing your content to the end user, as that has evolved, as streaming services have come in, as satellite television has come in, accessibility to content is now a lot more easier. Somebody sitting in Jharkhand today, if he hears of a good Malayalam film, there's a way to see it. Somebody sitting in Cochin like me, if I hear of a good Assamese film, there's a way to see it. So this phenomenon would then uh, automatically and thankfully mean that slowly we tend to be more open to seeing content in other language. As far as Malayalam cinema is concerned, we are blessed at the moment to be going through a great phase in terms of consistently churning out some really, really good content. Uh, I'm proud to be working in an industry that currently has a whole host of writers, directors, actors, producers, really enterprising people who are very adventurous with the kind of cinema they make. But one area of the industry that I still believe is at a very nascent stage is our distribution networks, especially outside the state and outside the country. And the sudden spurt in revenue and numbers for Malayalam cinema theatrically over the last couple of years has been because we have finally realized that and we are doing something about it. We are trying to now find systems and networks and put them in place to make sure that our cinema travels the world and our cinema is accessible in big screens, in theaters for people to come and watch them. And a great example is this film. The Goat Life is being distributed by Mr. Anil Tarani in the northern circuits. It is being distributed by Red Giant in Tamil Nadu. It is being distributed by Maitri in Andhra and Telangana, by Hombale in Karnataka, and by my own company, Prithviraj Productions in Kerala. So this synergy between these 5 distribution houses is happening not just because the film is special, but also because we realize that's the way forward. That we will all now have to work together for each other's films so that eventually, like all of us keep repeating, in a not too distant future, we'll all be just doing Indian cinema.
Abhinandan, can I have mic, please?
Hi, I have a question here. First, and as somebody who has been leading India in many, many fields, you've also had a survival story of your own. In the beginning, there has been a space which, like many other legends, people wouldn't have believed in you. What was your mantra of survival? And what do you think about art and passion? How do the two need to equate and blend so well to create a project like this?
Thank you for your very very kind words. I'm really blessed to be in this project because I didn't get when they first came to me. I didn't get how big it was. I was in my own chaos. I was trying to do things, but this man was very persistent. So he came, told the story, and then I gave him a few tunes. There is a process of understanding what they were doing. Then I finally went to Jordan, looked at what kind of commitment. There's a lot of learning process in this team where I've learned so much. Yeah, and for me, my process is always like I'm the first listener, I'm the first audience. If I'm not happy, I never think that, oh, I don't like it, but they will like it. I never think like that. So even if everybody likes it and I still feel like there's a change it needs to have, I'll stop everything. I anger all the producers, everybody, but I think art is for me that even to the last minute, if something has to be improved, I just want to do that because that's the way I've made myself, set the foundation for my art, for my studio, everything, my whole team. And it's difficult because sometimes you go through success, sometimes you go through failure. But if you believe and you feel like you're honest with your work, it rises up after some years or after a few months. So that's my mantra, I think. Yeah, thanks.
My question to Resul sir and Prithvi sir. There are moments in our life where you speak about the three phases that you've divided the movie into. There are moments in our life that we also live.
सो सर जिस तरीके से हमने आपके एल्बम्स पहले के सुने हैं जब रोबोट हो रोबोट 1 हो PS1 हो PS2 हो एंड द लिस्ट गोज ऑन ऑन सर एवरी एल्बम में आपका कुछ ना कुछ एक हटके अंदाज होता है सो जस्ट वांट टू नो व्हाट्स योर सीक्रेट रेसिपी विच जो ऑडियंस को हमेशा एक नए वर्ल्ड में लेके जाती है सो व्हाट्स योर सीक्रेट रेसिपी हाउ दिस मैजिक ऑलवेज वर्क्स फॉर यू
Bored with something, I don't do it. So I'm lucky to have great directors like Mani Ratnamji and plus he's Imtiaz Ali and Anand Rai and Rakesh Mehra. So that's a secret. Yeah.
Jimmy, there's a question for you. Jimmy Jean Lewis.
Yes.
What is the audience going to get from your character,
Well, it's a character that that appears in a moment where Najib's character was really in grave danger. He's almost like an angel that appears out of nowhere. I think what I would like the audience to go home with is the fact that you can decide to do something great for someone without expecting anything in return, just because of the sake of humanity. And if it does that, then I'll be happy.
Sir, left. Yes. Sir, look here. Thank you. Wait,
Okay, thank you.
थैंक यू सर
मोबाइल मोबाइल बेटा राजा बेटा अरे क्या नाम है इसका सर लेफ्ट कॉर्नर
जिमी सर सेंटर
या समोर
जी देख
समोर बरोबर आहे लेफ्ट हां
इकडे
थँक यू